Well, say, how are you all this evening of your time as you create time to exist? Allow us to begin this interaction this evening of your time with the entitlement, unfoldment of persona. Now, I have discussed many times the idea that what you call a persona is, in a sense, an artificial construct, a projection of the consciousness, the non-physical consciousness that you are as an entity, as a being. The idea is that persona, personality, the person you think yourself to be, is simply a face, an interface between your consciousness and the idea you call physical reality. Persona is one of the ways the being you are has of presenting itself in physiological terms. It is an artificial construct in the sense that it can be changed at any given moment by simply redefining any or all of the aspects that go into constructing this personality. Those three aspects, which we have discussed from time to time, are simply beliefs, emotions, and thought patterns. These three things are the things that construct the personality, the person you have been taught to think yourselves to be in your day-to-day existence as a physical being. But it is only one of the faces that you have, one of the ways, one of the methods you can present yourself as an individual, as an idea, as an entity. Now, let us create a pictorial analogy to illustrate another aspect, a multidimensional aspect of the persona and how it unfolds in the format you call physical space and time. Let us assume, by analogy, that the beingness, the whole homogeneous one beingness that you are, the consciousness, the awareness, self-awareness that you are, let's say for now, non-physically speaking, can be analogous to simply a cylinder. Doesn't have to be very long, very short cylinder for now. Now, it is one homogeneous thing, not made up of parts, not made up of components, or molecules, so to speak, or atoms. It is one homogeneous substance, one cell, one idea. Now, physical reality, in a sense, is the product of a certain frequency of energy. This frequency that is created is called by you the electromagnetic spectrum, all of it. Even though there are many frequencies within it, it is within a particular range that represents what you call physiological reality. And out of that electromagnetic field, all physiological material is solidified or crystallized, if you will. This electromagnetic vibration of the prime energy operates, as many of you have discovered on your own, in vortex patterns, spiral patterns, circular, cyclical patterns of expressing that energy. That is the format, the matrix, the framework of physiological reality, the spiral pattern. So now you have this homogeneous cylinder of yourself, and now you have the desire, let us say, to project yourself into the matrix of physiological reality. All right. You have this cylinder. And let us say there is a screen. And this screen is the edge of your physiological reality. Now you're going to push the cylinder into physical reality. And the screen is made up of spiral patterns that, for the analogy, would be like unto very thin cutting wires. So as you push the cylinder into the screen, you turn the cylinder into something similar to what you have called a rolled-up carpet or your jelly roll, in a sense. A spiral pattern has been cut all the way through the cylinder. Therefore, it can now begin to unravel itself in time and space. It contains all of the basic ideas of the whole cylinder, but the whole thing is experienced not all at once, but in its unraveling. The length of the unraveling is the length, the duration of what you call the lifespan. Cylinders can be very large, can be very small, can be very long, very tight. Any different idea you choose to be in any given lifetime will determine the basic construction of the homogeneous cylinder that represents the overall direction of that life. And then it will unfold, unroll itself throughout the structure of space and time, which are relegated to physical reality only. Therefore, recognize what this means. As you unfold your physical life, in your terminology, as you grow from a child to an adult, that is actually simply the carpet unwinding. You are seeing different aspects from moment to moment of the whole cylinder that was there to begin with, that determined what this life ought to be in general terms. So a child, the child that you were, so to speak, was simply one moment on that roll. And the next moment, another place on that roll. And as it continues to unwind and unravel, as it leads into what you call adulthood, you then are simply experiencing in linear fashion all the different faces, all the different ideas, all the different expressions and explorations of what the cylinder you were to begin with was before the physical life, playing itself out in linear terms. One moment after the next. Then, in what you call physiological death, you wrap yourself up again and become homogeneous. Change the idea, so to speak, of what you now wish to be, and if you decide to, push yourself back into physical reality and unroll as another life, from another direction, another point of view. Because, you can see, the cylinder, in a sense, is perhaps more properly analogous to a sphere, and you can cut a cylinder in it in any direction. In taking the direction of the cylinder out of the sphere you determine what life and the differences that life shall be. Now, again, we are speaking in linear fashion. All of these cylinders, all of these unravelings, all exist now, all simultaneously. You only experience it linearly from the physical point of view, because that is the definition of physical reality, time and space. Things have to take time and occupy space. You cannot have one without the other, so to speak. That is why your own physicists, your own scientists recognize that space and time are simply different aspects of the same one idea. And that is why now in your physics, you do not really refer to it just as time, just as space, but as space-time, as one thing. One thing. Because if you have space, the concept of space you have, you must have time. If you have time, you must have space in which to play it out. So the idea, however, is that all these unravelings go on simultaneously in a way that you have called, again because of your linear format, parallel worlds, parallel unravelings. All the personas you have ever been, are now, or will ever be, are all unraveling simultaneously in different directions at once. This is your collective being. All the unravelings together is your collective beingness. Your totality, the idea, the expression of the infinite that you are. Now you can unwind yourself rapidly. You can take your time. It's up to you. How you unravel yourself is up to you. The discovery of the things you contain as the persona you created yourself to be is your discovery, is your treasure, is your joy, to see what is wrapped up within yourself as you unfold. Many times in our interactions with you, from time to time, where appropriate, we may be able to see you edge on, and in the folds, see certain things that may be coming up for you that you have created for yourself to experience later on when you get to that particular unfolding level. But sometimes, sharing with you some of the things that we can perceive would perhaps inhibit your unfoldment. And so we reserve our point of view and our perspective on some of those ideas so as not to spoil your treasure and spoil your surprises of self-discovery. Always you have determined the surprises and the markers and the signposts you will set for yourself upon your unfoldment. And always we know that the discovery of these markers leads to great, ecstatic, revelatory leaps of self-awareness. And that's what your life is all about, discovering more and more of who and what you are by unraveling and unfolding the idea you chose to be before that life. At your own pace, in your own way. Mostly our civilizations and other beings and other levels of consciousness are now communicating with you in this way to simply remind you that you have the capability to unfold yourself at whatever rate you wish. And that the unfoldment in and of itself is what you want to experience. It is not a matter of kicking the carpet quickly just to get to certain things that are trapped within the carpet, and ignoring the unrolling action itself. The unrolling action itself is a part of what you wanted to experience. And this is only another way of reminding you to live in the moment. Every inch, as you say, every centimeter, as you say, every micron, as you say, that your carpet unfolds is an experience unto itself, because every moment is a dimension unto itself that stretches infinitely in all directions. This is the holographic nature of reality. Every point contains the whole. Every line stretches to infinity. Every plane to infinity. Every cube to infinity. You are infinite beings, infinitely unfolding in infinite directions within the infinite you that you are. You are going in many directions at once. All directions at once. This is your nature of self-discovery. This is what it means to be a part of the infinite all that is, the infinite awareness, the infinite one, homogeneous being of creation. You are self-revelatory. That's how you are designed to be. Self-revelatory. You are all mirrors for yourselves and for each other to discover all that you can be, all that you can choose to be, all that you can enjoy being. You are a hall of mirrors. The universe is a hall of mirrors. Everything you see is your own reflection in one form or another, to give you the opportunity to discover what you prefer to be, how you prefer to act, what you prefer to manifest. Persona. Even the idea of persona in physical terms is not the limited thing that many of you have been taught to think that it is. Well, you're stuck in this rut, that's it, that's all you have to deal with, many of you have said. This is who you are, you can't change that. You always do change it. Always, always, always. You see, the thing of it is that many of you are so steeped in the idea of space and time and the past and the future that even when you change it, you don't know you've changed it, because you have so completely changed the present many times that you change your past, you change your future, you change your entire timeline history, and nothing seems different to you because it all seems to fit the present you have created yourself to be. So many times you don't know you have changed drastically all the way up and down the timeline because everything fits. Nothing seems out of place. Until now. Some of you are beginning now, because of your increased sensitivity, to be aware of the fact that you are changing relative to all the other yous you have been, could be, or are now. This is the limbo state of the persona that we have discussed with many of you many times, that makes you feel as if you are, as you say, in neutral gear, floating in the midst of a collection of probable directions and probable realities, not necessarily knowing which one to take or which ones to take, or in what direction to move or act. This is, in a sense, not a new state of being, but it is new in the sense of how many of you are beginning to recognize that this state exists and it is a natural thing. Many of you have become very worried about experiencing this state. You say, oh no, I'm becoming disoriented. Yes, you are, and that's the whole purpose. To become disoriented to old ideas, old views, old personas you no longer need to be, no longer prefer to be. You say, oh no, I'm becoming confused. Yes, you are. As we have said, confused, fused with more of yourself. I'm becoming depressed. I don't know what to do. Depression, once again, is only meditation that is judged to be negative by you. It is actually compression, where you pull yourself together into the very center of your being and examine all the things you prefer to be and then expand as the new persona, having restructured and redefined yourself in a new direction. That's why when you come out of your depressions, you really feel like new people. You are. New people. Even though you may think you look the same, you are a new person, literally. Because once again, the persona is constantly unfolding and it is constantly changing. It is an artificial construct. So, everything you will hear from most consciousnesses of our nature will be aimed at reminding you that you have the tools to be whatever persona you wish to be, and to be whatever life you wish to be is represented by the persona you choose to be. Always. The clearest definition of the persona you create yourself to be will determine the life you live. Always. Because your physical reality is only the product of what you define it to be. It always has been, is now, always will be. All of you have that ability because all of you are a part of the infinite. And what you are learning to do is not lose your individuality, but at the same time as you strengthen your individuality, glean a true feeling perception of the individual all of you are together. Because you are together an individual. And with our world together, your world and our world is, while we are individuals, an individual, a larger individual. And with other worlds together, we are a larger individual. That will go on forever. There is no end to it. No end. Infinity means just that. The infinite is without end and without beginning. It is infinite in all directions. Directions simply being your nomenclature, how you see things in linear space and linear time. Your personas now are dissolving their old barriers, their old definitions, and expanding accordingly. And that is why we are capable, and any level of consciousness now is capable of interacting with you in this way. We remind you that just as, once again, everything is a mirror, we are a mirror for you. For all that you can choose to be in your own way, not saying you have to do it the way we have done it, I remind you once again, our motto, do not believe anything I say just because I said it. Believe it because you feel that it is true for you. Because it works for you. All the ways that you can discover for life to work for you are all true, are all real, are all valid, are all accurate, are all powerful. Infinity is just that. All the different ways together as one. At this timing, we thank you for co-creating this interaction with us. Once again for choosing to be ambassadors, representatives of your society, and allowing us to represent our respective societies. In return for the gift of your sharing, I ask you now, how may I be allowed to serve each and every one of you?
Good evening, Bashar.
And to you, good night.
You were just talking about the spiral of life unwinding
Yes.
through time.
As time.
As time.
As.
What would happen if a person had his spiral, or I guess you could call it even a helix, perhaps?
Yes. In three-dimensional terms, yes, a helix, yes.
So he had his time planned out, so to speak.
Timing planned out, yes.
And then he died.
Yes.
And did not return to what you might call the spiritual plane, but regained another body.
Yes.
And continued on another life.
Yes, and so? This is quite typical, especially on your world. Because of the cycle of forgetfulness that many of you have created so long ago about the fact that you can have a choice to go where you want to go after physical death, many of you have created an automatic return cycle. That is what you have called karma. This automatic return cycle is now what you are, I shall assume, beginning to be aware is your creation and can be broken simply by your awareness that it is your creation. And that you can actually go wherever and whenever you want to.
And what I'm referring to is that there is a starting to be known a perceived cycle in which someone dies and their spirit goes into some kind of a white light and goes into like a...
These are what you might call lower astral realms. Lower astral, non-physical, quasi-physical, vibratory states of existence. Very close to physical reality, but just slightly higher in frequency. Understand? The idea simply is that they do enter the spiritual realm, but there is a layering that you have created in the spiritual realm around your world that makes it so that the lower layers will contain the automatic return cycle, and the higher layers will not.
Okay, but what happens if someone doesn't even enter those layers and then...
Well, they have to enter them somewhat. If you become non-physical at all, then in your terminology, you are in one of the non-physical layers. Now, they do not have to recognize they are there. Understand?
Yes.
If they do not recognize that they are there, it may, in your terms of perception, take them a long time for them to realize that they can be anywhere they wish to be. There will be individuals who will, at least in your terms, make an attempt to remind them of this, to assist them. These are what you call guides. And there are some guides that are specifically crossover guides. To aid and assist individuals who have, in your terms, physically died and are, in your terms, disoriented about where and when they are. The idea throughout your history of what you have called, more often than not, hauntings or ghosts in that sense, are simply individuals who many times do not even know they have died and are still attempting to live their physical lives, not understanding and being confused about why they cannot affect physical reality in the same way they used to, or creating an illusion, in a sense, a hallucination for themselves that makes it appear as if they are still affecting physical reality when they're not. Individuals, crossover guides, on either the non-physical or the physical side, can send love and light and assurance and reassurance to them to help orient them and wake them up, open their eyes to see where they are, and allow them to know they have conscious choice and conscious ability to go where and when they need to go. That was the original purpose of what has become, in your society, the idea of an exorcist. It is a spirit psychologist, in a sense. To allow individuals who have died to know they have died, that is all right, to go on with their lives on another level, if they wish to. Understand?
Yes.
Is this clarifying the idea you wished to discuss?
Yes, more than I thought it would.
Oh, right. Well, thank you very much for your sharing.
Okay. Thank you.
Sharing.
Yo.
Oh, and good day to you.
Thank you. How are you, Mr. Ambassador?
Oh, perfect. How are you, Mr. Diplomat?
Well, in New Age terms, perfect.
Oh, thank you.
In Old Age terms, lousy.
Oh. All right. Nice of you to represent both sides of the issue.
My pleasure.
True diplomat.
Yes, thank you. I'm actually just kidding. I have been exploring abundance again, and I've noticed that I've identified two areas of abundance.
Oh, number one?
I have a lot of credit and a lot of debt.
Oh, all right.
Abundance of that. What I came up here to talk about was a letter that I wrote to the President on October 22nd. And
Which?
The President of the United States.
All right.
And got a reply, not from him, but from the National Archives.
Oh, all right.
And they say that the only reference we found among our records in our custody to Snowbird is a January 11th, 1955 U.S. Air Force memorandum on Exercise Snowbird. Snowbird being the name of the project that you identified anyway.
Yes.
Relating to an extraterrestrial crash on the planet in 1947.
No.
No?
Snowbird refers to what you call contact and communication and dialogue between your world and other worlds.
Okay. Anyway, what they are calling it, Exercise Snowbird, provides for joint training of the employment of Army and Air Force units under Arctic conditions. they've enclosed a couple of flyers and stuff like that. And
Yes.
one of them says, at the end of it, it says, periodically it is erroneously stated that the remains of extraterrestrial visitors are or have been stored at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. There are not now, nor ever have been, any extraterrestrial visitors or equipment on Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
All right.
So,
Yes.
either they have identified Wright-Patterson, and that's not where they're being kept, and they've used the...
Not anymore, no.
Okay, well, see, what I'm wondering is are they being ignorant at this point, or are they being covert? Are they not telling us the truth?
Most of the individuals who are responsible for responding to your letters do not know.
Okay.
However, the original directives for their response come from individuals who do. And in that sense, they are being covert. The individuals who, in your terms, simply carry out the orders do not know.
Okay. Do you have a suggestion for getting to the people who would know, who would best utilize my encouragement to release the information?
You may, if you wish, perhaps involve yourself with some of the individuals who have already, in your terms, been successful at acquiring from your government documents that, in that sense, do reinforce the existence of many of our, not our society specifically, but the Association of World Craft upon your planet. Mm-hmm. Associate yourself with individuals who have created publications of that nature, and perhaps involve yourself in their organizations, because to some degree they are already very well organized at accessing this information from your government.
Yeah. Okay.
So you can join them if you wish.
That's an idea.
Add your voice to theirs. You see, one of the things that your government has been taught to believe in is numbers.
Yes, that's true.
So if you continue to act as isolated individuals, they can afford to not listen. If you start becoming one voice as many individuals, then they will have to, because you will be saying that you are your government and just as equal a voice as you have created them to be.
Yeah.
And again, the whole thing is unfolding within the timing.
Oh, okay.
Remember that, to some degree, again, the idea of what you may call mass revelation of some of this information upon your planet now would not necessarily sit too well with the majority of members upon your planet. But it is leaking out at whatever rate. It can be speeded up, but it is still leaking out at whatever rate represents the overall mass consensus reality's ability to absorb the information in a way that will not allow your planet to feel as if it has been undermined, in a sense, by the sudden appearance of other civilizations that your society may still take to be so much more advanced than you, that you, in seeing the comparison that some of you might inevitably make between yourselves and us, would give up trying. Understand?
Yes, sure. I'd like to ask a related question. I see it as related because it relates to our government.
All right.
I just read a briefing on Soviet scalar electromagnetic weapons.
Yes.
And this briefing indicated that the Soviets have developed the scalar electromagnetic technology to a relatively refined extent.
Yes.
And we, in this country, at least our government, is totally ignorant of it.
Well, not ignorant, no. But you are concentrating on other things. You have a wide selection of weapons of destruction.
Yeah, I know.
Now, the idea, to some degree, has already been realized by individuals working with what you call the scalar wave technology, that it cannot be used to its full potential. Otherwise, the total disruption of your entire structure of your planet would be at stake.
Because of the sun, earth, moon, and moon-sun electromagnetic
Mostly simply because of the Earth's own crystalline structure.
Oh.
The scalar wave technology would, in a sense, break it asunder at certain pitches.
Mm-hmm.
This, to some degree, is more analogous to the type of technology that was utilized by the world we have referred to called Maldek, which destroyed itself.
Oh,
understand?
Yeah.
It was not, in your terms, nuclear. It was more the idea of vibratory wave technology that has the ability to truly disassemble a planet.
Okay. Well, according to this briefing, the Soviets have developed this technology to a point where they can defend themselves against our missiles. Now, I'm not particularly into the weapons or anything, but
it is not very well directed at this time. And again, they understand that they cannot really use it to its full potential, for it can, in your terms, get out of hand and wreak more havoc even upon them than it would do to the incoming missile.
Was that responsible for the accident at Chernobyl?
No.
Okay. Was it responsible for the destruction of the Challenger?
No.
Okay. This briefing seemed to think that it was, but
no.
You're saying not. Okay. Was it responsible for some of the missile shot failures?
Some earlier ideas, much earlier on in your program, were the early experimentations with some of that technology. I will not get any more detailed than that.
Okay. When I was asking for, if there was responsible, I was talking about the Soviets using them against.
I understand what you were saying.
Very good.
Thank you.
By the way, I want to thank myself for all the reflection that you've been to me.
Oh.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I'm a little nervous because this is the first time I've talked to you in person.
Well, this is the first time I have talked to you, and I'm overjoyed.
Okay, you be overjoyed, and I'll try to reflect that.
Oh, all right. Go right ahead. Do remember, we have talked about the fact that anxiety and excitement are the same energy. One experienced through doubt, and one experienced through trust. Understand?
Mm-hmm.
So, let your nervousness transform into the positive side of excitement. That's all you're really feeling, is your own energy expanding.
Okay.
Do continue and do share. Everyone is a gift, and everything you have to share is valid.
Thank you. My question is there any information or insight you might like to share with me?
We do not work that way.
Oh.
You must initiate the opening of the door by sharing the idea that excites you the most. When you make your statements of conviction more strongly than you make your questions, then we are allowed to perceive more about your energy. If you simply ask us to tell you what we see in that sense, then you yourself are not necessarily putting out the reflection, putting out the energy that we can reflect back to you. The idea we always do when you ask us if there is anything we would see about you and share with you would be to turn it back to you in the form of the question that we usually ask everyone. Are you doing in your life the thing that excites you the most or not?
I think so.
You think so? You don't know.
Well, so far, I think it's the most exciting thing.
All right. Is there anything else you could imagine doing that would be more exciting than what you're doing now?
Yeah.
Such as?
Traveling or...
Traveling! All right.
Going on vacations a lot.
For any particular purpose?
Just to enjoy it.
All right. What service, what expression of creativity does it excite you to create on your planet? What outward expression of creativity?
God, I didn't think this was going to be so hard.
Doesn't have to be. Does nothing excite you in the sense of creativity?
When I'm sitting out there and pardon me?
Does nothing excite you in the sense of creativity?
Yeah, I'm just not sure where to direct it. I don't know. I mean, I feel a lot of energy inside. I just don't know how to put it out there.
All right.
I don't know which direction.
All right. Well, this is what we are discussing. The direction is always most strongly represented by the thing that excites you the most. That's why it excites you the most. The idea of excitement is the signal of the thing that represents the direction in which to put your energy. That's what excitement is for. That's what it tells you. Understand?
Mm-hmm.
So when you have allowed yourself to glean the things that are most exciting to you at any given moment, then act upon the opportunities that in your estimation best represent your ability to move in the direction of what excites you the most. And that will be the fulfillment of that direction.
Okay, this excites me a lot. I mean, reading about all this metaphysical and trying to learn about that.
But that is absorbing. What about reflecting? You're not a one-way mirror.
Well, I'm not sure how I can reflect this.
What excites you the most in terms of creative output? Is there something that would represent a creative expression that would excite you to do? Do you want to share the information you are learning about?
Yes.
In what way would excite you the most to do so?
I don't know. It's all kind of new to me, so
No,
I'm not really
right,
sure what ways
right.
are available.
Then you don't have to be in such a hurry. If it's really that new to you and right now you are in what can be called absorption mode, then continue to absorb and allow yourself to be attracted to whatever information works best for you. There is nothing in that sense that you have to do at any particular time. The idea is to simply recognize that when the timing is appropriate for you to be able to express in a creative output modality what it is that you are best at, then an opportunity will automatically be dropped in your lap. That will be the opportunity that absolutely represents what will allow you to express yourself in the fullest possible way. If no such opportunities are making themselves obvious right now, then continue to absorb and learn what you need to learn to be who it is you wish to be, and enjoy that. Remember also that when we talk about doing what excites you the most, we are talking about moment to moment to moment. You don't necessarily at every given moment need an absolute curriculum in order to know that you are living in the present, living in the moment, and doing what excites you the most at any given moment with integrity. Allow yourself to absorb. If it is new to you, in a sense, then absorb it in whatever way is most joyous for you. If at any moment it strikes you to express it in some way of sharing, do so. Express it in whatever way is your creative modality. Do so. That will then be your service. That will be your reflection. That will be your feedback to those around you. So that they will then see, by your example, who you are, what ideas you have to share, what perspectives you have to share with them. So they can see through you yet one more way that the infinite has of expressing itself within the creation that it is. This whole idea does not have a real time track affixed to it. It is spontaneous play, spontaneous allowance, spontaneous expression of joy, ecstasy, excitement, creativity. Does this sound good to you?
Mm-hmm.
Can you relax in the modality you are in without necessarily wondering if you should be doing something else?
Yeah.
There really is, in that sense, nothing to say except what we have said. If opportunities need to be in your life to allow you to express yourself, they will be there. Everything works automatically. You do not have to try to do anything except the things that represent who you are not. Those are the only things you really have to try to do. The things that you are not. The things you really are will come into your life, and the opportunities to do them will come into your life automatically, effortlessly, joyously, with excitement. It will be an obvious path to take, an obvious direction when it comes. You won't even think twice about it necessarily. You'll just move because it excites you to do so. And that will lure you into the circumstances to give you the capabilities that you need to express yourself as you have chosen to express yourself in being of service on your planet at this time. Understand?
Yes.
Is this of assistance to you?
Yes.
Does it sufficiently respond to your query?
Yes.
Maybe.
Well...
Would you rather that I simply told you, go here, do this, and do
No,
that?
I was just hoping you could...
Oh, hoping, yes.
Yeah.
Which implies doubt.
I would have liked.
Yes.
Is that better? If there was a little bit of something that you would have been willing to share with me that wouldn't unravel my carpet too quickly. But just a little... I don't know. I guess I was...
All right. One moment. First, we access what you may colloquially call clearance to do so. This we will do from one of your own guides.
Oh, I do have them then.
Of course.
Okay. Thank you.
Everybody does. Now, one of the suggestions which may come symbolically, but you see that's the way the guides speak, is to hold in your hand a copper bowl. If you were holding in your hand a small copper bowl, what would you like to fill it with? Well?
Water?
Is that a question?
Well,
Make it a statement.
it's the first thing that came to my water.
All right, water. And then what would you like to do with it?
Probably drink it.
All right. And what do you imagine would happen?
It would be cool.
And?
Refreshing.
And would it have any other effect upon your psyche? Would it
calming, I guess.
lead you to do anything else? You still have the bowl, you know. Anything else you wish to do with it?
Well, if there were other people around me, I'd probably share it.
In what way?
I'd pass it around.
Pass it around. Oh.
I didn't know I wasn't by myself. Okay.
And what would happen after you passed it around? Would they drink from it as well?
Uh-huh.
And how would it allow them to feel?
Refreshed and calm and...
And how would you feel about them in seeing them do this?
Good. I'd feel like we shared something that I don't know.
Yes, you do know.
Nice.
Yes, you do know.
It would be nice.
Nice.
I'd feel close
All right.
with them.
You'd feel close.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you'd begin to identify with them, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Begin to share in intimate ways with them, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Intimacy, yes? Intimacy, yes? Intimacy.
Okay, yes.
The copper bowl and the water therein, to some degree, is a symbol of intimacy in certain ways. Experiment with this, if you wish, and see how much further you get with that idea. Pay especially attention to your dream conversations with your guides in creating this symbol for yourself. And I will give you one word, which is allowed. Oracle. That is what we can share. See what comes of that.
Okay.
And have a good time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sharing.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I have the great fortune of doing something that excites me very much.
Oh, all right.
Recently, I've been sort of personalizing it to the point where I'm responsible for all of the creativity. I'm a songwriter and a singer, and recently I've had a lot of opportunities to share my music and try to get it out.
And what?
And get it out.
Thank you.
But it's not, I guess it's not as important to me as the actual writing. I guess the actual writing of it and performing it is what excites me the most.
All right.
So I have a problem.
A problem? How?
I have a challenge.
All right.
Of doing business with it. I have a tendency not to return phone calls, thinking that I'm sure that person is not
a tendency,
the visionary.
it's a choice.
It's a choice.
Yes.
But I think it stems from just the feeling that I almost know intuitively whether it's going to be a waste of time, take me away from the creative process. Well, take me away from the creative process.
Not possible.
Okay.
Why would you assume that it is? Why have within you the definition that that particular scenario only contains the type of circumstances that would remove you from your creative process? Why not create a definition where that particular methodology of getting your music out there would only come to you in the way that would still allow you to remain completely attached to your creative process? Why not define it to come to you in the way that will allow you to do that, rather than assuming that it can only come to you in the ways that would remove you from that creative process? Why do you have that definition?
Well, I guess because I don't feel that the business aspect is very creative.
Oh.
It's just the way I feel.
It is just as creative as anything. Now, you may not prefer to manifest it in your life in the way other individuals have, but that does not mean there is not a way that fits who you are. That is always the key for all of you. In any endeavor, in terms of expanding and expressing yourself, there is always a method in any category that fits the way you are. There are no extraneous creations. There are no unfulfilled creations. There are no incomplete kits. Everything you are, if somehow what you are gives you an indication that you can expand yourself in certain ways, that other individuals can receive what you have to share in certain ways, then take it for granted that there must be a methodology that represents the methodology that will allow you the easiest conduit to place yourself out there in full sight and sound without that conduit being a taxation on the things that excite you the most in the giving. Why? That what gives you joy would need to attract another aspect of that idea that would not be able to give you as much joy or expand the joy you already have. Why assume that the joy you have can only be funneled to other individuals along pathways that would restrict what you are?
I feel that that restriction.
Well, yes, you feel it because you believe in it.
Yeah.
But that's simply the definitions you have been taught. You have had it drummed into you over and over and over again. This is the way business is. Get used to it, kid. You have to, as you say, eat or be eaten.
I know. I guess I feel so much more comfortable, sort of on an artistic level, and maybe there's a visionary person out there that can handle that end of it for me.
But you are missing the point. Attracting that person can be your way of getting yourself out there. That's all we're saying. No matter what form it takes, there is a conduit for you to express yourself to the fullest of the capacity you want to in a way that will allow you not to feel hindered. Be that another person or a methodology, doesn't matter. Attract whatever is there that will key into your pattern. Because you can. Because it's there for you. For every single person who acts, there is a stage. For every single person. As long as you understand what you are is valid for what it is, then you can attract the appropriate stage or circumstances to allow you to be represented in your purest possible form.
Right.
Nothing has to limit nor restrict your expression of what gives you joy.
Well, see, I feel that the expression is there, and that is what excites me the most.
Yes.
It's not dropping a tape off to someone.
Your expression.
Well, I've become aware recently that just the mere fact that I have created a song,
yes.
I feel like I channel when I write.
Well, yes. That's what channeling is.
And I feel that it has entered the consciousness just by the mere fact that I've created it.
Yes.
So
now, you can be excited simply about the doing of it in that way. You know, it does not have to, in your terms, go any farther. But we have simply perceived within you some sort of a desire on some level that it should.
Well, I want it to affect some change, you know.
Oh, all right. Then assume, once again, that if you simply continue to be who you really know you are and fully express yourself, you can then, by retranslating the definition of business, attract to yourself whatever conduit or path will allow you to put out there your creativity and create that impact. Do not assume that it has to come in ways that restrict you.
Well, it's just very difficult weeding through all of the people that...
Stop. What you have just said is not a law of the universe. It is another definition.
You're right.
It's very difficult to weed through all these people. You have been taught that phrase. You see, this is what you call your catch-22. Many of you think, well, I don't do it because of this. It's for this reason that I don't do that. And then, well, all right, I see that I don't have to think this way anymore, and I see I don't have to think this way anymore. But now, because of this reason over here, it's hard to stop thinking that way. And because of that reason, it's hard to stop thinking that way, and that reason this way, and that reason this way.
So
you will never run out of reasons if you keep creating them.
All right, so I have to get excited about meeting whoever it might be.
You don't even necessarily have to worry about the details. You do not have to come up with the way it will happen. The details are always subordinate to your strongest intention. As long as you are fully excited about being the you prefer to be, and just know beyond a shadow of a doubt that if one of the things about being the most exciting you can be is the fact that you will have an impact upon your society, you will automatically attract, whether you consciously are aware of how or not, the circumstances and individuals necessary to allow you to create that impact. You don't have to know what the details are.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel it's on its way.
Yes, all you have to do is get out of your own way by ceasing to impose upon yourselves definitions of a physical reality that have nothing to do with who you say you want to be.
Okay, I'll monitor my definitions.
Don't try too hard.
I won't.
Do remember one other thing. This ties into the idea of persona that we were discussing earlier in this interaction. And we thank you for allowing us to bring this point up now in your interaction. Many of you think what you call your physical senses is what lets your reality in. No. Your physical senses is what keeps most of it out. Your physical senses are not, in a sense, perceivers as much as they are filters. Understand?
Yes.
So the only things you will see at any time will be what you believe most strongly is the most likely thing you will see. That's it. Your physical senses will act as automatic filters to represent your strongest beliefs and will give you only your strongest beliefs and definitions. They are filters, not perceivers. They keep most of reality out.
It's frightening.
No, it's very freeing.
Okay.
Because then you can choose what you will perceive. And know beyond a shadow of a doubt, that's what you'll get. Because what you have determined is the clearest definition will be what you get, and nothing else will interfere with it. Understand?
Mm-hmm.
Just because I'm saying that it's a filter doesn't mean that's a negative connotation. Did you think it was?
Well, I guess I did.
Oh, thank you. Another opportunity to discover within yourself how you choose to label things, and that has a lot to do with how you experience life.
It's true.
Remember, none of these situations, no situation has built-in meaning. No situation means anything. They are neutral, empty, devoid of meaning. The meaning you automatically give them through what you have been taught to give them is the effect they have in your life. No more, no less. Does it help you?
Very much so. Thank you.
Well, thank you for singing your song to us.
You're welcome.
Sharing.
Hi, how you doing?
Oh, perfect. And you? Good day, good day.
Great. I have a question on healing.
Healing, all right.
I know you just sort of talked about how there really isn't any purpose in methods, that it's the intention that gets you there.
Well, there are methods.
Right.
But the intention in that sense will always attract the opportunities to allow you to express the methods that are most conducive for the intention you are.
Okay, great. Then I have a question on a method for myself.
Yes.
On doing absent healing.
Absent healing.
Right.
Yes.
Because one of my cats was injured in a car accident.
All right.
And I just want to know if there's any specific method that I could use that would be best to allow...
Have you used your imagination to come up with a method? That is what your imagination is for, first of all, to give you all the methodologies that work best for you. Have you used your imagination to imagine a method you could use?
I've used a lot of methods. That's why I'm wondering if there's one that would be better than another.
These methods that you have used, what did you feel about them? Were you using them out of desperation or inspiration?
Both, I think.
One or the other.
Oh, okay.
Not both at the same time.
Okay.
When you use them out of inspiration, you will get the result you need. When you use them out of desperation, you are grabbing at straws, as you say.
Okay.
Understand?
Yes.
Let your imagination inspire you.
Okay. How can I channel the most energy that I can possibly channel to do healing? Is there anything you can tell me?
By loving as unconditionally as you can.
Okay.
Now, Allow yourself also, for do understand, animal consciousness is always a reflection and a guide for all of you. Many of them are willing to put themselves in circumstances that will put you squarely face to face with the thing you actually need to understand about yourself. So, in dealing with your cat, what comes up within you about yourself? Does it allow you to face the idea of your own healing abilities? Does it allow you to face the idea of what you say you really want to be and do? Does it really put you in touch with more of the definitions you have created yourself to be? And does it allow you to change those definitions in ways that you prefer to? Does it put you through your paces?
Yes, very much.
Then in a sense, that's what it's for. Whatever you are discovering about yourself in the interaction between you and your animal friend is what that particular situation was created for. Because the animals do love unconditionally. You could learn that from them. Understand?
Yes.
Now, it does not mean that they have to injure themselves many times to prove a point. But the idea simply is that because of the way your world still is, sometimes that's the quickest way. They, in a sense, know, ultimately, they are really in no danger. They know they are infinite consciousness. They know that physical reality is simply one aspect of the total consciousness that they are. They do not really have a hard dividing line, in most cases, between the idea of physical reality and non-physical reality. So they can be more willing to express in certain ways ideas, even if it seems to cause them physical harm, that will actually serve you in the quickest way. The sooner you learn what you need to learn about yourself in the interaction, the sooner they, in a sense, no longer need to exhibit that idea, and they will be healed. In a sense, that's one of the quickest ways to heal them. Learn why you are present in that interaction, what that type of expression or gesture on their part shows you about yourself, what it puts you in touch with within yourself. Integrate that information, learn from it, become more expanded. They will no longer need to reflect that idea to you. They will be healed.
Great.
Understand?
Yes. Thank you very much.
Remember that your cat is the symbol of the bridge between physical and non-physical reality. Understand?
Yes. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Sharing.
Bashar, welcome.
And you as well, good day.
This formal channeling is very new to me.
Formal?
Well, this setting is very... I'm sure I have channeled before with other beings and people.
Yes. All of you channel in many ways.
But I've never been aware of it. My life has been very fulfilled, and since I was a child.
Yes. Oh, thank you.
And I still am.
Yes, thank you.
But something concerns me.
And?
I have always been intrigued and fascinated with the physical part of the earth, with meteorology and geology changes.
Yes.
And since I was a child, I monitored and watched as much as I could see and tried to place pieces together to see if there was any puzzle that was being put together with a change on the planet.
Oh, yes. Hand in hand with your consciousness changes occur upon your planetary sphere, both in the ground and in the air and in the energy. Hand in hand with the changes in your planetary sphere, both in the ground and in the weather and in the energy, are changes in your consciousness. They are hand in hand with each other, manifestations of the one idea all of you are together. They are interrelated, interconnected, inseparable.
Okay. So this would explain, and I've read this also with the higher consciousness that we're all seeking, and the changes that are happening so quickly as we seem to perceive them now, because we are perceiving the changes now.
Yes, and let me simply remind each and every one of you that all of these changes can be experienced either in a negative or a positive way, depending upon how you approach the changes within yourself.
Correct. What puzzles me is I am seeing more and more, and for some reason there's an inner feeling for me that in the next year of our time that we're going to see some drastic physical cataclysmic changes.
Here and there may be some spontaneous representations of this. It is nowhere near as widespread as it would have been had these changes occurred approximately 30 to 50 of your years ago. You have already done much to alleviate many of these ideas and many of the notions of the degree of the change you are feeling doesn't mean that it has to be experienced in physical terms. It can be a shift within your consciousness. It will be a physical change, but it does not have to be a destruction to be a destructurization.
Correct.
Remember that every thought you have literally changes you physically. But that doesn't mean you have to experience the change in what you would call an abrupt, destructive way. You will change physically. The vibratory frequency of your planet will ascend, will accelerate in many different ways. This, in and of itself, will cause many physiological changes, but they do not necessarily have to come in ways that are destructive. There may be isolated places around your planet that will not be able to create the transformation in any other way, but some of these areas will act in your terms as safety valves, and many of them do not have to happen in areas that in your terms are highly populated. Understand?
Yes.
One of the strongest changes will be the electromagnetic field of your planet itself. And this can create many changes within the consciousness and within the crystalline form of your Earth. Yes, there will be a few. But individuals who are not on the frequency of needing to experience the idea catastrophically, even if they are in those locales, will not be negatively affected. Understand?
I understand. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, and thank you for your sensitivity. Sherry.
Hello.
Oh, and good day to you.
My name is Kathy, and
all right.
my question is, throughout my life, people have always called me Mary.
All right.
And it's people that are familiar with me, that I'm acquainted with, and I just am curious as to, well, maybe I do think that perhaps it's from a past life experience.
There are some associations, but that is not the only one.
Uh-huh.
Some of it has to do with the fact that in dream state you're actually very helpful to many people. And they know you in the dream guide state as Mary. Because Mary is more representative of your whole energy, not just the person you are physically now. Understand?
Yes.
So they're simply calling you by your dream name.
I see.
Does this help?
Well, yes, thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Shirley!
Hello, Bashar.
Oh, and to you, good day.
Thank you.
One moment, if you please.
Certainly.
By the way, all of you are very busy in your dream lives. Very busy. You are learning many things. You are being of assistance to many individuals. You are having conversations, so to speak. Even though you might not have mouths as you understand it. But you are all very interactive. And many of you already, in many different ways, function as guides and reflections for other individuals. Being of assistance, being loving, being caring and compassionate in that way. Thank you. Yes.
A few weeks ago, I had an experience. It was while I was working with a healer.
Yes.
And the experience, as I sensed it, was that a being came into me, but it was me.
Yes.
But it was a me that I felt hadn't ever been in this body.
I understand.
It was...
In a sense, that is correct.
Okay. I felt that it was a being that I've been told is an alien spirit guide of mine.
So to speak, another aspect of the same oversoul of which you are a part. Similar, not exactly the same way, similar to the relationship I am to the physical channel. We are extensions of the same oversoul. I am to some degree the channel's future self, to use your classic terminology. So in that sense, I have never been, quote unquote, as myself, the body of the physical channel, although now that I am linking and identifying with the idea, I call the body of the physical channel one of my past lives. Understand?
So this would be a future self of mine? It felt so much like me that it became kind of schizophrenic. I felt like I was talking to myself.
You were, and you still are, right now. Because you are, in a sense, the only one in your immediate reality. And you are co-creating all the reflections of us, including me, that you interact with. So in a sense, what you're doing is talking to yourself right now. The idea simply is that it is mostly representative of other connections you have in other areas, in other dimensions, but it is also representative of the future you will be on your planet. The you are turning into, using the other idea as a guide, as a reference, in again the same way that the physical channel before you is using my consciousness as a reference to become more of his version of me. To have his own future self on your planet, even while I am his future self in another dimension. Remember what we talked about of being multidimensional beings.
Right, yes.
So in a sense, you are familiarizing, and in a sense, to some degree, re-familiarizing yourself with another aspect of your own consciousness that exists in another dimensional plane, and you are feeding that information, that contact through yourself, as we perceive you anyway, to allow yourself to construct the you prefer to be in your immediate future reality. You are creating a multiple reflection of who it is you desire to be. From many different points of view, many different reference beams are going into the creation of the you prefer to be. Is this making any sense?
Yes, very much. When I have this experience again, as I expect to...
Well, in a sense, you're having it right now.
Okay.
Do not feel that you must experience it in exactly the same way all the time. Remember, sometimes when many of you think, oh, I have this wonderful experience, I wish I could feel it again. It is not that it has gone anywhere, it's that you have acclimated, so you don't notice it as much.
Yeah, okay.
And then you get something else that represents yet a higher level, and you acclimate to that, and then you don't notice it as much because now you're used to it. So you are actually experiencing it to some degree right now.
The fear that I experienced as that sort of wore off, and even kind of insanity that I felt.
Very typical on your planet. I'm not being condescending.
Okay.
It simply is that because so many of you have been brought up to have repressed and suppressed portions of your consciousness, when you start to reintegrate yourself as a whole being, all those things that you have suppressed must, by definition, come to the forefront and be dealt with and be integrated. All you're doing is discovering more and more and more of you. As we have said, two things. Nothing. There is nothing you could ever discover about yourself that cannot be applied in a positive way, so you do not have to buy into the fear. The fear is only there to point out things that you have been taught to ignore. The fear makes it so that you can no longer ignore it. It grabs your attention.
It grabbed me, all right.
Oh, yes. Because you see, you have as a society not been taught to live in the moment in joy. So, if the only way you can live in the moment is through fear, that's how you'll do it until you get the hang of it.
I see. So the more I can let go of the fear, then the more joy it will be.
There is absolutely nothing within the circumstance itself that is inherently fear-inducing. Only your definition of what you think or have been taught to think the circumstance is all about is what generates the fear. Only your definition of it. The second suggestion we would give to you, share with you and all of you, is simply once again another motto. Put in what you may call a rhyming form, so in your terms it's perhaps a little more fun to remember. Let it through. It's only you. Understand?
Yes. Thank you.
Does this help you?
Very much.
Well, thank you for your joy and your self-discovery.
Thank you.
Sharing.
Hello, Bashar.
On to you, good night.
First of all, I'd like to thank you for that peace clock idea. That's really great.
Well, thank you for co-creating it with us, TikTok.
I sent it out in my Christmas cards, and I would recommend that you, if you haven't sent your cards out yet, you might include a little thing like that in. That's an easy way to get it out.
There will be provided for you next week of your time actual, as you say, literature that also can be dispersed to your society.
A couple of quick technical questions.
All right.
People ask me a lot of questions about the magnetic beds. And one of the things is, how can we measure that 7.5 pulse that you refer to? The bed has is the same as the Earth. Do we have machines that we like?
To some degree, you do. Yes, some of your electromagnetic devices are sensitive enough to pick it up. There are, however, many ways to do this. You can set up what is called a sympathetic, quote-unquote, vibrational tool. if you can create, in a sense, a device, preferably of a hollow, fragile, delicately balanced nature, such as a sealed tube or a sphere, and you can impose upon that device the 7.5 cycle per second vibration by flowing a current to it in that way and creating it to vibrate in that way, then in and of itself it can be created to, vibrating at that pace, be sensitive to all other vibrations of that pitch. And it can be created to act in certain ways, if it is perhaps balanced, to move as a compass needle would move in certain ways to align itself with that particular frequency. You can create a device that is sensitive to that pitch by giving it that pitch itself so that it only identifies with that pitch and will do something, either create a resonance or a tone or a motion that will indicate to you when something is also of the same frequency. Understand?
Right.
But it must be a very delicately balanced and fragile idea.
Okay, thank you.
Made out of conductive material.
The other thing that you mentioned one time was these gigantic magnetic imaging devices that they scan people with.
Yes.
Can also be used as healing devices, but they don't know about that yet.
Yes.
And I have a friend whose wife is undergoing a number of treatments and measuring things. And I was wondering, is there something we can say to the doctors or something that would make them...
Well, I'll leave that up to you.
Well,
I cannot force anyone to buy into a belief they simply do not want to buy into.
Well,
however,
in the line of a suggestion.
Yes, however, you can perhaps suggest, oh, you know, I read somewhere, I don't know where, about the magnetic and electrical conductivity of the body. And I saw there were some experiments being done by very reputable doctors, scientists, that showed how the body is somewhat like a battery, and how magnetic fields and electrical fields, especially those that seem to resonate at the frequency, the natural frequency of the earth, seem to have some, well, sort of, shall we say, balancing or conducive balancing state to the body to allow the body to perhaps, oh, well, maybe heal a little bit faster than it normally would. You know anything about this, Doctor? Maybe that way, but I'll leave it up to your imagination. Perhaps you can do your own research and find some of the individuals that are already working in that way. Perhaps you can work with them. Perhaps you can attract into your reality an individual that is already sensitive to these ideas, or perhaps you can simply allow yourself to know that everything is working out according to your own timing. And trust it, and act upon your instincts, but in ways that does not violate anyone else's belief system. I'll leave that up to you, but there are many ways. You can educate yourself with some of the research that is being done upon your planet and bring that up if you wish specific references.
Okay, thank you very much.
There is, to some degree, although we will not touch upon this in exactly the same way, literature that exists in what you call book form that can set you in a certain direction. There is one book we are aware of called Body Electric. You can refer to that. There are many other works as well.
I didn't realize there was anything that covered these machines because they're so new.
It does not cover the machine. Oh. It covers the principles.
Okay.
That can then later be adapted to the machine. By the way, the discovery of the electromagnetic pulse of any planet can be found by simple formula. If you will take what you call the circumference of any planet, in your terms now in miles, and you will divide that in terms of those miles divided into what you call your speed of light, you will then get a result that is representative of the cycles per second of the electromagnetic field of the planet. Understand?
Yes. Good.
Oh, thank you very much. At this time, you may all take a short break. We will resume contact in approximately 10 to 15 of your minutes. How's it going? Say, continue.
Hello?
And to you, good day.
Good day to you, too. I really don't have many questions.
All right.
But I have a few curiosities about you.
Oh, all right.
I already asked you about if you slept or not.
No.
Yeah, I already know that. But I wanted to ask you, what do you eat?
At this point in our history, nothing. We subsist mostly on the idea of the intake of direct electromagnetic energy, since we are now in our evolutionary transformation going from physicality to non-physicality very shortly. There used to be a time when we did, in your terms, consume substances similar to your own in many ways, and evolved, in a sense, to a time when we did not require that much physiological substance except very simple forms of vegetation. And then we evolved to a point where our mass mentality created a particular type of vegetation that would be analogous to a crossbreed idea to something what you would call either corn or lima bean in nature. It was not natural to the planet, but it grew naturally out of the energy of the atmosphere of our combined mentality, and now, as a civilization, we no longer have any need to even consume that for sustenance.
Okay. You mentioned that, I know that we all have guides.
Yes.
Okay. And are we all guides to each other?
Yes.
In our conscious state as well as our dream state?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have guides?
In a sense, yes, although we do not necessarily carry on the same kind of relationship with ours as you do right now with yours, since we are more consciously aware of their interaction with us. It is simply that we have more of a direct communication rather than an unconscious one. But we do recognize there are many levels of consciousness that are far more accelerated and expanded than our consciousness is, and we can refer to them, in a sense, and key off of them, in a sense, as reflections of our own future directions, and in that sense use them as guides. We simply now are more conscious about our interactions with them because we are more willing to be equal to them.
I see. And could you expand on what the definition of a guide would be here for us now? Our guides.
Someone who reflects to you the ideas that are most representative of the vibrational frequency you are or chose to be. Understand?
Yes, I do.
Someone who reminds you who you are.
Right. Well, we all remind each other who we are.
That's why you're all guides to each other.
That's right. Okay.
Now, the relationship we have with our guides, no matter what their dimensional plane, is more akin to the type of relationship you have with each other in your own plane of existence. Mm-hmm. Understand?
Yes, I do. I've been asked a question to ask you about during the month of June. I think it's June 13th through the 22nd. There's going to be an alignment of the planets in our solar system. Are you aware of this alignment?
To some degree, though it will not necessarily be as much of one as many of you may think.
I see. So there will not be any great impact on the Earth's vibration?
To some degree there will be, but do understand these ideas of planetary alignment are more representative of the state your consciousness already is in, rather than having a direct effect upon your consciousness.
I see. So our consciousness is creating this alignment?
Well, in a sense, yes. The timing, the cycles that you have patterned out within your collective consciousness are responsible for the timing of anything you observe in your physiological universe that reflects back to you those cycles and patterns that are embedded within your consciousness.
Okay, so everything we actually know right now, we are creating, right?
Yes.
So we're creating you right now,
yes.
Basically, right?
You are creating your version of me. I am creating my version of you.
That's great.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. Remember, as each and every one of you become more aligned to more of yourself, that is what has the greatest impact, though it may be symbolized from time to time
in the seemingly exteriorized cycles of your universe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sharing.
Yes, Bashar, a mutual friend of ours, David Lane, who's a composer, who heard you recently in Colorado, composed a piece of music that he'd like you to hear and share with everyone. He entitled it Living Light, and we're going to play it for you right now, just a couple minutes of it.
All right.
Thank you. By the way, as has been announced, we will hold an interaction upon what you call your Christmas Eve night. And on that night, we will entitle that interaction Christmas Bells. All of you who desire to attend that night, bring, if you would, a bell of your choice, one that really strikes a chord within you, and we will have some fun.
How about crystal bowls? I just got one.
Any type of bell will do. That is a type of bell.
Thank you.
Yes.
Bashar, I have a brief question.
All right.
The bowl that I got is, the information I have, is made different from the other bowls that I've seen. It is made from crushed real quartz crystal.
Yeah.
And would that affect the tone as you see it? Would there be any difference in the vibratory exchange?
Difference from what?
From the other ones, which are made from siliconized sand, as I understand them.
There will obviously be, to some degree, a slight difference, but it may only be in the specifics, not the overall general tonality. The basic theme will be the same, but there may be some specific keys that will be turned in one that are not turned in another, and vice versa, as you say.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Shedding.
Hi, Bashar. How you doing?
On good day to you.
I've been through quite a process the past week, and I was wondering if you could comment on it from your point of view and perspective.
May I ask you a question?
Sure.
Oh, thank you. Are you acting upon opportunities that come into your life?
Not all of them.
Why not?
Good question.
Well, thank you.
But I intend to capitalize on all of them at this point.
Well, all right. Simply, you are reorganizing, reassessing, recalibrating the idea of what physiological life can be, allowing yourself to see in clearer and clearer approach different avenues now that can be taken, and how each of those different avenues can interrelate to each other in the doing of your life, in the acting through of your life, and in the being of service in physical way for other individuals, and then receiving the abundance necessary in the reflection of the doing of that service. You are recategorizing your idea of who and what you are as a persona. Allow yourself to begin, as you have said, to more fully act upon the opportunities that are coming to be of service in various ways that can support you in that sense.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Does this assist you?
Yes, it does. And could you comment, I keep getting the phrase second phase Andromeda activity, and what does that mean? Can you shed some light on
Remember that the idea of Andromeda consciousness is that which represents in the local, quote-unquote, group of galactic consciousnesses that which is the overall, and not meant in a ruling way, but the overall organizing energy. It is that which is the conduit through which flows all the communications of all of what you would call the nearby galactic consciousnesses. Therefore, you are tapping into that because you are representing in your own life the whole idea of organizing things in a way that will actually serve best all the individuals you come in contact with, and then can serve you best. It is a facilitation energy, in a sense. You follow me?
I see.
A networking energy, in a sense. You follow me?
Definitely.
Does that help you?
It does. They seem to say, as far as all the different extraterrestrial groups that are active down here, that if you step back and look at them more holographically, you get a better picture.
In a sense, yes, because then you are also included in the picture, but in your own terms.
And there's more balance there?
Yes.
Okay.
Because we are all intertwined in that way. And remember that regardless of the individuals we are, we can only come to you through your consciousness, your dimensional frequency. So we are inexorably a part of your consciousness, even as you are a part of ours, because that's the only way we can experience each other, is through each other.
Mm-hmm. Have you been communicating with the Pleiadian named Ta lately?
off and on.
Is he okay?
Yes.
Okay.
At least the aspect we are communicating with is fine.
All right. That's all we need to know.
Now, one thing we will share at this time. Now, not meaning that each and every one of these is in your terminology. Members of what you would call the association in the way we refer to other worlds, other civilizations. Some of them are. But the idea is simply to delineate your immediate, shall we say, neighborhood will be as follows. Within what you call approximately 12 of your light years, surrounding you in a spherical manner, the closest civilizations to you are in your neighboring system of what you call Alpha Centauri, in what has been termed Barnard's star, and we have discussed this many times, in the system of Sirius, and we have discussed this many times, in the system you call Epsilon Eridani, in the system you call Epsilon Indi, and in the system you call Tau Ceti. These are the closest civilizations to you, within what you may call a 12 light-year radius. Now there is consciousness associated also with the star system you have labeled Wolf 359, but it is of a nature that we will not go into now. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We will expand on some of these ideas later. Sharing.
Good day, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I have enjoyed so much the entering into the imagination more and expanding it.
Well, thank you very much.
And I'm wondering about about when it goes into fantasizing or
understand. Now, there can be sometimes what you may call a fine line between the idea of what you would call, quote-unquote, pragmatic imagination and fantasy. It is all real on some level. The things that you would more often than not, however, call fantasy are simply those realities your imagination is in touch with that may not have what you would call immediate application in your physical dimension. That is simply a matter of degree as well. For now, in your transformational age, many more things can actually apply now that you are opening up your definitions of what your reality is to begin with. So there is not as clear-cut a definition anymore between the idea of imagination you manifest physically and imagination that has to do with other realities that are not applicable in your world. Many more realities are now becoming applicable on your level as well. However, generally speaking, you will find that the imagination that is representative of the realities that can be applicable in your world will be represented by circumstances and opportunities that will be most automatically attracted into your life to act upon. The imagination that is in touch with reality that is not immediately applicable will not attract opportunities for you to be able to do anything about it. Understand?
Yes.
Nothing will manifest as an opportunity physiologically that will give you a chance to manifest it simply because it does not have immediate application in your physical reality. So the opportunities that come in your life are indicative of the levels of your imagination that are immediately manifestable. And the levels of imagination that are immediately manifestable will always attract opportunities through which you can manifest them if what you are imagining represents what excites you the most. Understand?
Yes.
Does that assist you?
Yes.
So you can look to the action-reaction feedback mechanism of your physical reality itself to show you what is most immediately applicable. Now, sometimes you may get a sense that something that right now seems like fantasy in the extreme somehow feels very much more real. And what you may be getting is that somewhere down the road, as you say, the circumstances you are attracting to yourself now may make it more conducive for what is now a fantasy to be manifestable some point later on in your life. Understand?
Yes.
But you don't have to worry about it, nor do you have to really, in that sense, focus on it until an opportunity actually presents itself to you that you can physically act upon. So know it is there. If it feels real to you, use it as a strong guiding point, but act upon the things that are immediately in your reality, because only doing that is what's going to get you there anyway.
Yes.
Does that help?
Very clear. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sherry!
Hello, Bashar.
Strawberry! Good day to you.
Good day to you.
And we see the sun shining brightly on your strawberry patch.
Yes. Yes, it is doing well, isn't it?
All the little seeds have sprouted very nicely.
Yeah.
It is very green and beginning to be very lush and sweet.
I love it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's been very delightful.
Yes.
Things have been expanding in many areas.
Yes, and thank you for watering the patch.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Well, chap. Bashar, I know that traditionally you are of the mind or of the spirit by which you say that most of what we receive from you is a reflection of ourselves, and that you're constantly validating our own self-empowerment and creativity, and that is delightful and appreciated.
Oh, thank you.
However, at this time I would like to extend to you what a delight it is to have you as a friend.
Oh, we thank you.
And to extend to you a real heartfelt thanks for sharing with us all that you have shared and for taking on the role that you personally have chosen to take on.
I thank you and remind you that I have only done it out of joy.
I know. And it's been our joy too. But I wanted to thank you as a personal friend.
Well, I love you too.
Okay. And now, since I am very rapidly transcending out of what has been traditionally called by you the third density, and just for a little nostalgia's sake, I thought maybe we would take a look back at the solidity of that old density and look from a more exterior viewpoint at some of the ways in which our culture traditionally chooses to create upsets and difficulties in their lives.
Trip down memory lane.
Trip down memory lane, as it were, right?
As it were, yes.
As it were, right. And I noticed that possibly one could sum up what individuals would call upsetting incidents, or incidents that they choose to judge as upsetting, in maybe one of the three following categories. One consciously reaches for something that they do not get, or they reach to have something and get something else, or they seem to have something that they don't want. And these three areas manifest large and small in all of our consciousness, such as we have a conscious idea that we would like to have ourselves move down the freeway at rapid speeds and find ourselves presented with an abundance of non-movement.
Yes.
And out of that, of course, we have the choice to assign various meanings and enjoy the abundance of it all.
Yes.
And then we have the choice to be really peeved at what's going on.
Yes.
Which is the more traditional choice, of course, in third density.
On your planet.
Yeah, and our planet. We're being nostalgic about it. About it all.
Yes, those were
the
days.
Fascinating days.
Long time ago.
Long time ago, yes.
Galaxy far, far away.
Far, far away. Yeah. Do you know the part I liked? Do you remember how you used to suggest to us that what we would do is to find ourselves in this situation and add new meaning to it?
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't that an interesting approach?
Still is.
Yeah. But I like the concept of going back to the essence of changing the momentum that brought us into those circumstances in the first place.
Oh.
Isn't that, that was...
But do you not see that is one and the same thing as giving it new meaning? For when you give it new meaning, it changes.
Yes. Yes, I do see that.
Oh, all right.
Yes.
Just checking.
Oh, good. So anyway, I thought that was a nice little excursion down memory lane, and it was very fascinating that the planet and the culture went through those things.
Oh, yes.
And
quite a museum.
Quite fascinating. And I'm sure it's added to many fascinating and fun stories that you got to exchange with other civilizations on.
No lack of tales here.
No. Has the association created a mastery of limitation library of some sort? Yeah.
Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame. I thought so. We did it really well, didn't we?
Yes. You did. Spectacular.
Yes, thank you. Well, just
stellar performances.
Oh. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, that pretty much concludes this excursion, and as you see now, I simply share things with you. There aren't really any questions to ask, since we now all know the answers to all of these sorts of things.
Or at least know you have the ability to discover them.
Right. And so I hope you enjoy the few remnants of our old density as they pass through your consciousness.
I shall savor every little bit.
Great.
We thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Good night.
Sharing.
Good day, Bashar.
And good day to you.
Bashar, last week in a city called Gulf Springs, Florida, there was a sighting that was seen by a lot of people, a bell-shaped craft. It was very large. Yeah, more bells. And it was on the news one time, from what I understand, and then never to be seen again. Could you comment on that sighting last week at all?
Did you have a good time hearing about it?
Yes, I did.
And what did it awaken within you?
More interaction.
More interaction, all right. Again, everything is representative of timing that is apropos for forming identifications to, shall we say, check the level of your consciousness. You understand?
Yes.
Just checking the dials, seeing how much receptivity there is, and then measuring the amount of static that remains. Going away and coming back later for another check, seeing if things are more receptive. That is generally the purpose of these excursions that are brief.
Just checking in, huh?
Just checking, seeing how much more receptivity there is as opposed to static.
Thank you. Also, could you talk about the idea of Sananda a bit, please?
Well, simply, that there are many expressions of the overall collective consciousness of your planet, expressing itself in many of the different cultures that you have created yourself to be. And you will find that for each and every belief system in each and every culture, the combined collective consciousness of your world will have found a way to express itself, to represent itself, to symbolize itself archetypally to that particular culture. So that each will know that each facet contains one of the aspects, one of the sparks of light of the total whole. That was simply one of the ways, is one of the ways, will be one of the ways for the collective consciousness of your entire society to have expressed itself. Understand?
Yes and no.
Yes and no,
yes.
all right. In what way do you know?
Well, for a long time, my understanding of Sananda was that Sananda was the new name for the Christ. And then
Not
recently, new in the last 40 years or so, 50, as my understanding. Okay, just my understanding.
All right.
And then recently I've heard that the idea of Sananda is more of a group consciousness, or rather than an individual, rather than like the Christ.
But what did I say? It was representative of collective consciousness in any particular cultural format. And it is also an aspect of the combined consciousness of your entire planet, which is the Christ consciousness, or Sananda, or Buddha nature, or Great Spirit, or many different ideas that you may call it.
I got it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sharing.
Hi, Bashar.
On to you. Good day.
Thank you. At this moment, I'm feeling wonderfully, ecstatically joyous and full of bliss.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
And actually, this vibration seemed to happen since I've been in this room this evening.
Well, thank you for creating it.
Well, I'm sure it's an intermingling of all of our vibrations.
Oh, yes, that too, but the only way you can experience it is by creating it for yourself in your own reality, by taking your cue from others that may be radiating that frequency and matching it in your own reality. Mm-hmm. You don't have to accept that cue. You don't have to feel it. Just because we are radiating it and all together are manifesting the idea of that vibration doesn't mean you have to meet it.
Mm-hmm.
But you have, so thank you.
Yeah, I have, because I prefer it to be this way.
Oh, yes, me too.
It wasn't how... Right, it's the only way to be.
Well, no, but's the way I prefer.
Okay. As far as I'm concerned.
Oh, all right.
This wasn't how I planned to start the conversation.
Oh, good.
But I changed my mind.
Thank you.
Just recently, in fact, most of my life, I've chosen to live on the edge.
Yes.
And
like many of you. Very creative spot to be.
I know. It's good. It's real tough, but boy, do you learn your lessons fast.
Yes.
And
but it does not have to be tough in the negative sense.
I know. Well, this was the last time, I decided this was the last time that I will ever go through trial by fire again.
Oh, thank you very much.
However...
Oh, yes?
I changed my mind.
Again? All right.
I changed my mind when before I first interacted with you.
Yes.
However, the physical manifestation kept on spinning in the negative. It's like it didn't change with my mental. It just got worse and worse and worse.
Do you have a particular definition for this physiological manifestation?
Yeah, monetarily.
Monetarily?
Monetarily and physical material manifestations.
Yes.
Which were created from allowing myself to be taken advantage of. I happen to be a very vulnerable, emotionally sensitive person, which I looked on as negative because I allowed other people to make me believe that was negative, and I now choose to see it as a positive.
Oh, thank you.
However, what is happening right now is that the physical situation got to where last week I had to give up my apartment. I have people taking me to court, small claims court,
exciting.
And detectives looking for me, and I'm living. I don't have a home anymore. I'm living like a gypsy. I have my clothes in my in my car. I've been, in fact, I decided this month to diligently look for like a regular job a job I didn't prefer in order to get myself out of the situation as fast as I could.
Did you change your mind about that?
Yes, as of today. Because nobody would give me a regular job. They won't.
That's because you're not a regular person.
I know.
And you don't want to be.
I know. And it's like...
What job would you like?
Okay, I know exactly what I want.
Oh, do share.
I want to work as a regular in soap operas.
Oh.
I've already worked in soap operas. I've already worked in, just a good general cross-section of everything to do with the entertainment, movie, film, everything, just about.
Yes.
Except for, there's one category I haven't. But that's okay. I'm not going to name that.
You want to act?
Yeah, and I want to do it in soap operas.
That would be the most exciting way you could imagine to express yourself, yes?
Yes. I have a lot of emotion. I tend to be really excessively negative and positive. And it's like I've been experiencing all this anger towards these people that have taken advantage of me, and it's like... I get up every morning and I'm living with this woman that, she was one of the people that helped to take thousands and thousands of dollars from me with my permission this year. And it's like I'm being forced to live with her right now. And it's like I'm having to control my anger because...
Is she with you in your automobile? Thought you said you were living in your car.
I'm living in my car pretty much. That's my meditation centering space. But I have I use her place as a crash pad.
Crash?
Yeah. Because
would you prefer to make a soft landing?
Well, now I would.
All right. May I ask you a question?
Sure.
Thank you very much. Have you acted upon all the opportunities that exist for you to be able to express yourself in the way you say you wish to? Have you talked with the individuals who may be connected to that idea?
Well, something happened this week.
Oh, all right.
That really inspired me.
Oh,
I was looking to get a regular job as a receptionist in the law office because that pays I was experienced in that, and that I could make the most money quickly, so I could get my own apartment. And then I was going to go into acting. But what happened was I ended up coincidentally getting a job with Triad Artists as a receptionist.
Oh, Triad. Oh.
And
how much we love Triad.
Yeah. And I was sitting there answering the phones and going crazy and trying to be normal. And
why?
Because I needed to make some money quick. I had.
Oh, you're saying the only way to have abundance is to be normal.
Well, I was experimenting.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
Because nothing was working. I didn't want to lose my apartment. I didn't want them to take my car away. I don't want to live under a tree. That's too much.
That's a nice place to live.
I know, but
the tree thinks so.
Okay, it would be cold. And that's a bit too much. Okay. And anyway, what happened was that all these people to do with entertainment started coming in, like actors and actresses, and some of them were, their egos were like really obnoxious. Some were really nice, and it was like, I looked at this and I thought, well, God, I have a choice. I would rather be doing that than doing this.
Oh.
Yes,
And so, did you start acting in the way you wish to act, to be one of those people? Seeing in both of them, both polarities, the opportunity to decide what about being one of those people you prefer to be and what you don't prefer to be.
Well, it wasn't till today that I made up my mind.
Oh, all right.
And it's...
Cleared up your definitions, then.
The only thing that I'm creating as a dilemma is because I really don't like my living situation. Right. I'm living sometimes at my boyfriend's, which that's fine, but I don't like living with this woman because I have all this anger.
Then
where am I going to live? I can't live with my boyfriend all the time.
Why do you not, in that sense, trust that there is a place for you?
Because I don't know where it is. I mean, my brother...
As soon as you start acting like the person you want to be, you will. Understand? As soon as you start acting like the person you say you want to be, you will attract the things that belong to that person.
Okay.
Is this making sense?
Yeah, it is, except...
Except? You don't trust that much?
I do trust, but I don't know. Well, what do you mean? Shall I get up tomorrow and just go to the casting people and give them my picture and resume?
Why not?
Give me a job tomorrow?
Why not?
And I'll have enough money to get an apartment tomorrow.
Maybe. You might, if you need that, if you really need that. If that is really the path of least resistance that will help support the person you say you want to be, and if you are that person, then that's what will happen. Whatever will be the path of least resistance to support you will be what happens as soon as you start being the person you say you want to be. Automatically. Instantly. What's the word you have? Miraculously. Which is not a miracle at all. Miracles are not out of the ordinary. In fact, miracles are the normal state of things when you allow them to be so. Why can't it happen that quickly? Is there some law of the universe that says it can't happen that way?
No.
You don't have to create the expectation that it must happen that way, and so if you don't see it happen exactly that way, you'll think you have failed. But be the person you really want to be and act like the person you really want to be, and then whatever is the path of least resistance that will be the most abundantly supported of you will come into your life. The opportunity will be there. You'll recognize it. You'll act on it. Act upon the thing that excites you the most when it comes in out of all the opportunities that you will be able to do. It will be representative, whether it seems connected or not, of the thing that will support you the best.
Okay, so the fact that I have interviews for regular jobs with law offices again tomorrow. And
Does that excite you?
No, not at all.
I believe you.
Okay.
Then it is our suggestion, not that we will ever tell you what to do, but if it really doesn't excite you, it's our suggestion that if you, in that sense, involve yourself in those interactions, you will be choosing to make the things you really want take longer.
Okay.
Because you will be spending your energy in the direction that you don't want to.
So just throw it away and just try.
Transform it.
Okay.
Do the things you really prefer. Act like the person now that you say you want to be. If you were the person you want to be, would you be doing things differently than what you're doing now? Would you be acting differently? Would you be approaching people differently? Would there be people you would approach that you're not approaching now simply because you don't think you're that person yet? Approach them. Be the person you want to be. Approach them. You know you're going to be approaching them with integrity. You don't have to worry about the idea of not having integrity. If you know you're doing it with integrity, approach them. Don't be afraid to. You'll get the response that will steer you where you need to be steered. Automatically. Flow into it. Flow into the person you want to be. Be that person. You will have the lifestyle of that person. You cannot have the lifestyle of the person you want to be if you're not being that person in all the ways that you can.
How do I get rid of this anger?
The anger is
that I have towards
only
these people.
towards yourself.
I know it's towards myself too.
Then understand what natural anger is for. Natural anger in the first stages is an alignment energy. You are seeing something around you that you know you're not. You automatically experience the rush of energy alignment that allows you to know quite clearly what you actually are as compared to what you are not. There is no reason to judge or invalidate them. They have shown you what you are not. Thank them. Thank you for allowing me to see through you what I do not prefer in my life. Thank you for allowing me, therefore, to have a clearer idea of what I do prefer. I love you, goodbye. You understand?
I feel it saying, I hate you, goodbye.
Then you only hate yourself and you slow yourself down.
I know, okay.
Do you really believe that by them showing you what they have shown you, that they have actually turned you more clearly onto the path of who you are?
Yes, I do.
Why would you hate them for that?
Yeah, I know.
It is a service. It is a service. And do not forget, you attracted them.
Yeah, I know.
Well then, the saying, I hate you, is saying, I don't work, I don't function, I don't work, I don't believe in myself, I don't trust myself. That's when you start putting your anger and projecting it outward as hate.
Yeah.
Because all you're doing when you scream at them is screaming to yourself, I don't believe in me.
Yeah.
They are giving you a very clear opportunity to understand that that's the belief you had. And now you can change it. Because they are showing you clearly what you do not prefer. So that you can now choose more clearly what you do. All you have to do is say, thank you very much. See you later.
Okay.
And get on with being the person you really want to be. That will bring you what you need instantly.
Yeah.
All right?
Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you very much. What a soap opera that was.
And thank you very much for all your interactions. I've been using all of your tapes as self-hypnosis and playing over and over again in my car. And look what's happened. It's great.
We thank you for allowing us to reflect to you the full measure of love each and every one of you is. And at this timing, we reflect that to all of you. To thank each and every one of you for the co-creation of this interaction, which has given us unbridled joy and unlimited ecstasy. We thank you for allowing us to feel you, to share with you, and to dream beings as lovely as yourself in our reality. Remember who and what you are, and be who you know yourselves to be. 'Tis up to you. We thank you and bid you a fond and loving good day and good night.
Good night.
Let it go.
Thanks, Daryl.